me, or the ghost represents something scary, or I'm haunted, or things. People can think thoughts like that when they're afraid of ghosts. And what you do then is you look at the thoughts people have about these ghosts,
Yes.
and you examine them, and then you look at how what evidence is there that gives you the idea that these ghosts are scary, or that they're out to harm you, and what evidence or what experience do you have that that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So you investigate the thoughts people have about ghosts, or about why they are afraid of ghosts.
Mm.
And then you can alter those thoughts that people have.
Yes.
For instance, if you have, it's very, very similar to people who are having panic attacks. When you have a panic attack, you get all these bodily sensations, and people are afraid they're going to have a heart attack, or they're going to die, or they're going to suffocate. And they are so afraid of that they want to get out of the situation. So if you're in a store, they want to get out of the store to get air. But if you look at the thoughts that they are having is, I'm having a heart attack, I'm going to die here. And you can examine that thought, because you can think, what signs do you have that you are going to die? What experiences did you encounter that you are going to die? And what do you have, what kind of evidence is there that that's not going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
And in a panic disorder, you can, people can do what we call like behavioral experiments. So they test their new thought or their altered thought by going out in a situation where they were afraid that something was going to happen, to see, is that going to happen or not? Is that?
Yeah.
But you are too afraid to do that before. If you still have the thought, I'm going to have a heart attack, you're not going to go outside, or you're not going to go into a supermarket because you're too afraid. So first you try to examine the thoughts that people have, and it's the same for ghosts.
Thank you.
I have a question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
So, is it every fear of something that is problematic, or is it just that it's a fear you have, and then maybe that fear gradually develops to something else?
That's possible.
Because I don't know how to buy the idea that just that I'm afraid of spiders or lizard.
Yeah.
We are not saying that. I mean, I can see spider just crawling there, that's spider.
Yeah.
But for spider to now come inside the room and then you're looking at this spider, maybe on one part of your bed, would you tolerate that? No, that's not life about it.
Yeah, well,
I mean, one day we were in a hotel and then whoops, this was lizard coming in. You can see lizard outside, but not inside the room.
Yeah, I think
Do you understand me?
Yes.
Also, I began to wonder, probably this lizard has to climb the bed, maybe when we are asleep. So I couldn't sleep
Yeah.
until I made sure that this lizard wasn't inside the hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking about hotel here. I don't expect to see lizard in a hotel.
Well, we could, for example, ask Larry why he wouldn't mind if that lizard comes to the bed, or you could ask other people around you. Like, for example, if you have, let's say you have a snake, a deadly snake. When you're afraid of this, it's a functional fear because it's protecting yourself. That you want to be away from this. But you have this little spider.
Yes.
Who, for example, Larry just said that he's not afraid of it. So if there's a spider on Larry's arm, he's gonna think, he shakes it off. But you have some, thoughts of it. Maybe it's gonna bite you, or it's gonna do something, or it's, I don't know, it's creepy, or I don't know. You have certain thoughts, and we can talk about this. What's right? Like to see, I'm not saying that you are ever really like spiders. Most people don't.
Yeah.
There's also a biological thing that you're insects and spiders and reptiles that we don't really like.
Some of them can be very poisonous, isn't it?
Yes. And then the fear is useful because it warns you to get away from the spider.
Yes.
So there's a difference. Like when it is a poisonous spider, it's useful to be afraid or to want it out of the room, hotel room, or the bed, or
Yeah.
the hotel for that matter.
Yeah.
But if it's just one of those little Dutch little spiders, then it's not, the fear is not functional because it's not going to bite you, nothing is going to happen. So that is, that's the difference between the functional fear and the dysfunctional fear.
Yeah, you can give an example. I remember when my nephew was very little, and he had, I think he was 2 years old or something, and there was like a ladybird that flew on his hand. He was panicking. He was like, and he was crying and stuff. And I said, no, they are nice. It's a ladybird. They fly. They have nice dots and stuff. And then a week later, he went to catch them, and he was playing with them. So it's the different perception how you see them. It's the same.
So perception plays a big role in all of this.
Yeah, if I would have said to my nephew, don't touch it, it's very dangerous, then he next time he would have been, he's scared of the...
So we need people who would help us sometimes, reassure us about situations we are afraid about, to calm us down, to let us know it's not as bad as you think. Okay. Okay. Now, how would you begin the process of treating somebody who has fear, anxiety disorder? We actually began to talk about exposing them to what they are afraid of, and what else would you do? Could you tell us that very quickly?
Yeah, well, it differs for the type of fear most of the time.
Okay.
Because many exposure is almost always a part of the treatment, but gradual exposure. But what I just explained, like with the thoughts, that's one of the aspects of treatment, to investigate what are people thinking, what makes them so afraid.
Yes.
So that is what we call cognitive behavioral therapy.
Okay.
But for people that have experienced very traumatic events, like have witnessed war or rape or something very traumatic, and that suffer from, for instance, PTSD, that post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yes.
There's a different type of treatment that's also very effective, and it's called EMDR, and it stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a mouthful, but and that is when they cannot explain exactly why it works.
Yes.
But with your therapist, you then first of all you talk a lot about exactly what has happened, and many people that have PTSD, they have visual memories of what has happened. So they see flashes of what has happened, or and what you do then is you follow movements with the fingers from the therapist while you are remembering those very distressing images that you have. And we don't know exactly why it works, but it works because somehow it desensitizes the fear.
Wow.
So that helps. That's one other type of therapy that's possible. Yeah.
Is that the same as hypnosis?
Not
No,
really.
no,
Not really. But I can see why you would think so. Yeah. But you're not under hypnosis. You're fully there. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But let's kind of wrap it up by maybe quickly summarizing what the impact of fear and depressive thoughts can be on people and why they must take it serious. Can you do that in just 2 minutes?
1 minute.
Well, the impact of fear on people can be very
life impairing.
yes, life impairing.
It's impairing, life
Yes.
impairing.
Yes, and when it is that life impairing, it how do you say, it shakes every core of your being, like your family, your friends, your self-esteem. So it's very important if it is that impairing, it's very important to seek treatment. And if it's not, it's very important to try to face your fears to prevent it from escalating.
And sometimes even two talks, 2 sessions with a therapist can already do so much for you. You can
Really?
rest yourself. It doesn't mean you have to be in therapy
Amazing.
for 1 year or something.
Okay.
I have patients with a panic disorder that I've seen 2 or 3 times, and they're already like, okay, now I can. I mean, I still have my fear, but now I know how it works and what I can do.
Wow.
They can continue on with their lives, and
Amazing.
I think what Sana said is, I mean, if it's so life impairing, and I mean, just a few sessions, or to read, or to have some people who support you, it can make your life so much
Better.
enjoyable. So,
Wow, amazing. You want to say something? Were you going to say something?
Well, I was going to say that I think it's very important for people to understand, like if you are experiencing fear, it's very important that you understand why it's happening. And it's very difficult to do that when you're alone.
Mhm.
So it's helpful if you can see somebody. It can be a friend at first, or that doesn't work, a therapist. They can explain to you why it's happening and how.
Well, on this note, I would like to say a big thank you. You made my day. Thank you for the warmth and the thrilling discussion, and I hope you enjoyed it too.
thank you.
And we want to wish you a very good day, and definitely we would love to have you two back.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Awesome.
Met de complimenten van